Okay, everybody, let's take it from the top.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Hi-ho, everybody, and welcome back to D Plus Us, the show about all things Disney. I'm your host, Griffin Tennell, Griffey D-Pad, and with me, as always, is the wonderful, the amazing Mr. Mitch George. How are you doing today?
I'm in denial.
That's a verb for in Egypt. We are here to talk about the ending.
We're not here to talk about Jungle Cruise.
Where does that movie take place? I thought that was in South America.
I'm more so implying that denial sounds like a joke they would tell on the Jungle Cruise.
Look, the one I go to is just the TikTok sound of denial is the rifter in Egypt, your husband is gay. So, yeah, TikTok is
This
TikTok.
is why I'm not on TikTok anymore.
Anyways, what's up, folks? How's it going? We're here today to talk about the parks. A fantastic, wonderful topic. Just kidding. It's the end of MuppetVision. It's a sad, sad day. This is coming out a few days after the official closing of MuppetVision. So at the time of recording this, MuppetVision is technically still open. But by the time that you guys see this, MuppetVision will have closed. And this is our in memoriam for a fantastic and wonderful show. Today is the end.
I'm disappointed we're here, but I'm glad that we had the opportunity. This really sucks. I mean, for me, growing up, the Muppets were always kind of a mainstay in our house. So going to Disney for the first time, seeing MuppetVision, Muppet Courtyard bouncing, having terrible pizza, it was all part of the experience. And now I'm not going to get to experience that same with my son. And that really hurts to feel that sink in. But at the same time, knowing what's coming, I'm less, it helps to cushion the blow ever so slightly. As for those who don't know, there's a Monsters Inc. land that will be opening, replacing the Muppet Courtyard at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And I'm really excited to see what that brings to the parks.
It was such an interesting,
I love this show.
Interesting rollout for the Monsters Inc. stuff because, it comes out and definitively, everyone was excited for Monsters Inc. until we realized where it was going.
We were denying that it was going to go there. We're like, oh, there's that area with Star Wars Launch Bay and all that other stuff that they're not using that'll eventually get torn out for something else. But unfortunately, I mean, I'm honestly really surprised that it lasted this long. Given, I feel like it closed in California,
So yeah, let's hit y'all
10
with
years ago?
some dates. You are very close. So, MuppetVision originally opened up in Hollywood Studios May 16th, 1991. Back when Hollywood Studios was still called MGM, it was a very different park then.
This was the final production that Jim Henson directed before he passed away.
Correct. And that's a lot of people's concerns with how they're getting rid of this. That said, this production was brought to Disney's California Adventure. It was actually
an opening day attraction.
It was an opening day attraction over there. But then it
2001?
closed. Yep, February 8th, 2001.
Nailed it.
And then it closed November 1st, 2014 to make room for the first time in forever, a Frozen sing-along celebration.
Which is a great show.
Yeah. I still need to go and yell puddle. Look,
as long as you're not yelling alcoholics in the pre-show for Guardians, I'm okay with it.
Look, I gotta make a list at some point of the things in the parks that just people do that drive me crazy. But
that's got to be near the top of the list. Also, just rushing the door at Guardians.
Rushing the door in general, but for me, it's reciting the monologues in queue. It's
Haunted Mansion, the stretching room is a bad one.
Yeah. The one that drives me crazy, though, more than anything, is just how many dads you see in the this was expensive shirts. That just drives me crazy.
We're not here to talk about our pet peeves in the parks,
Yeah.
although that's going to make a great episode.
That will we genuinely should record that at some point.
We definitely will.
But yeah, MuppetVision has been around for a while now. It's about a 15-minute show. It's actually kind of crazy. It's got a killer audience capacity with over 500 seats.
Great way to get out of the sun.
And it is a long show too. It has like a 15-minute long pre-show in the queue as well. It is a lengthy amount of time and a ton of content for a park that is like prime with shows. Right now, I think before this Muppet Vision closing has been one of the greatest time if you're interested in shows for the parks. You have 2 new shows. You had Muppet Vision. You got Fantasmic. You got Beauty and the Beast. Shows are a huge deal when it comes to theme parks, and I feel like this is kind of. We just got one back. We just got a new one.
Even just looking at Hollywood Studios, you've got Little Mermaid and Frozen alongside the new villain show.
And Frozen, yeah, I forgot about Frozen.
Yeah.
And even then, you have some stuff over in Star Wars Land that isn't like official shows, but
you've also got like Walt's the gallery or whatever, Walt's Theater.
Mm-hmm. And typically they're showing previews in there for new movies. Like genuinely,
Fantasmic is one of the greatest shows in the park. I mean, granted, that's not to the same extent because it's a daily show and not a continuously run show, but still.
I mean, they do like 2. They do try to do 2 in a night.
Depends on the season, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're in summer season right now, so yeah, 2 in a night.
Griffin, it was. I'm gonna have to do the math. It was 83 degrees here today, and I'll just like that. That's warm for here. So.
Yeah, I almost overheated at the parks the other day.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was what, like 150?
No, it was in the 90s. I just can't handle heat well. But yeah, the Muppets.
Yeah, you moved to Florida.
I didn't really have much of a choice.
You're not wrong. Let's continue.
Genuinely, I love this. I love this show. I have been going nonstop since coming down here because I am like very, very sad to see it go. I am
glad. I'm glad that Disney has at least announced that there is an effort to preserve it in some fashion, given it was Jim's last production with the Henson Company. So I'm glad for that. I don't know how that's going to work, if there is a way that they could have broadcast it without the 3D or what, but I'm just glad they're trying to do something.
Yeah, I think this entire area is one that's just incredibly special. I have been trying to explore it as much as I possibly can with just going to MuppetVision, going to Pizza Rizzo. I was going to try to go to Mama Melrose's before that closed down. I didn't quite get the chance to do so. But even just that statue alone of Miss Piggy as the Statue of Liberty is just classic. And it's such a big staple for me. The Muppets in general, we love the Muppets here. We talk about it a lot. And it's really just sad to see a classic, fantastic attraction that we love go. The Muppets don't get enough love.
I think as well, like, for me, my last trip down in 2023, at that point, the writing was already on the wall. Like, it was inevitable that this was going to happen because when I was there, it was summer and none of the stores were open. Pizza Rizzo was closed. The only thing that was available in Muppet's Courtyard was Muppet Vision, and I'm glad that I went and I saw it. I want to say we sat and watched it twice that day or that trip.
Well, yeah, I think
really glad I did, not knowing that it was going to be the last time, but knowing that it very likely, like, the writing was on the wall at that point.
I mean, the writing was on the wall was on the wall the minute Stage 1 shut down. Stage 1 company store is the store back there, right at the exit of Muppet Vision. It had closed for the pandemic shutdown and then never reopened.
Honestly, I'm surprised it didn't close up shop closer to when we lost it in California, because it did seem I mean, the foot traffic in Florida, I think there is something to be said about the heat in California versus the heat in Florida, and there needs to be ways to get out of the sun, especially in Hollywood Studios where you have a land like Toy Story that, thank God, they added awnings at Woody's Lunchbox, but it's not. It
doesn't do much.
Cool park. It's
But also,
something.
that is a critique of every single theme park down here.
Animal Kingdom's not bad.
Yeah,
Because
look,
the trees, the foliage help cool
but
the
it's
park a bit.
it's not just a Disney issue; it's a Universal issue as well.
Universal's in the parks, or Universal
the
as it
parks.
applies to everybody.
As a-
SeaWorld, Legoland.
It is a Universal Studios issue.
Semantics are important, Griffin. All right.
Up yours. Yeah,
I gotta
it's
try to keep it light. This is a really depressing episode.
we have sad
almost
episodes
had
of the time.
I almost had Carmen sitting with you because I don't know if I can talk about this.
We
show
did week by week
much.
episodes of
Really
Andor. We can handle this.
It's different though. We didn't grow up on Rogue One. I mean, you did because you're like 6, but
No, but you
for
did.
me, that was an adult film.
No, but you
The
did grow
Muppets
up
have
on A New
been
Hope.
like Muppet Christmas Carol, which I think is still one of, if not our top viewed videos
One
of the
of-
regular
one
show
of.
on YouTube.
One of.
Like growing up with that, Muppet Treasure Island, which we should do an episode on, Muppets in Space, which we should do an episode on. We should just do more Muppet episodes, to be honest.
Yeah, we haven't done many of the movies, but we've done so much else.
I'm surprised. Oh no, we've done or you did before I joined the Jason Segel Muppets movie.
We did, but honestly, I went and rewatched that the other night.
It's so good.
Well, because I keep getting these TikToks and Instagram reels and whatnot of people. It's playing I forget the name of the song, but it's like the memory song that Kermit sings when he's like debating whether or not to get the Muppets back together. I wish we could do it all again, or something like that.
Something along those lines, yeah.
But it's that, and then clips of MuppetVision. And I was like, shoot, I'm going to rewatch this movie and cry. And sure enough, I rewatched the movie and
You
cried.
did.
So we should do an
I think
episode
the
on
best-
that coming up.
I mean, I just want to do an episode on Man or Muppet because the fact that we had a song written for the Muppet movie that won the Academy Award for Best Original Song.
I can't
It's
not
just-
sing it when it's brought up.
I mean, just the Gary and Walter with their Muppet Man counterparts. The fact that like this is at the height of the Big Bang Theory, and you get Jim Parsons cameoing as human Walter. Like, so good.
But I think I'm going to bring up the shorts series I've been doing. Also, our most watched episode, at least on YouTube, of the regular show is Treasure Planet. So,
Again, Muppet Treasure Island will combine the two of those, and it'll go absolutely viral.
yeah, Muppets Christmas Carol is number 3. Number 2 is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Heck yeah.
But, like, genuinely, Muppets, I think, hold such a special place for us. The way that I start every single one of these episodes is hi-ho. And I have been doing that since day one because of Kermit. Because of genuinely a character.
I had assumed it had been the Seven Dwarfs this entire time.
I mean, that would have been smart considering first Disney movie and stuff, but no, it's because of Kermit.
See, we've been doing this for 3 years now. This is the first time you've told me that was derived from Kermit, not
It's Kermit the Frog,
freaking
yeah.
Seven Dwarfs, and my whole life was a lie.
Anyways, yes, it is because of Kermit. Like, I genuinely consider Kermit to be one of the greatest hosts ever. Full stop. And that is because of Jim Henson, because of his humor and his style. And this is the last thing we ever got that is his humor, is his style. And it is hilarious, even to this day. A show that came out in 1991, still being hilarious 34 years later.
It's not just this show. I think that it's something to do with the Muppets themselves, and I'd love to do an episode with Carmen on the original Muppet Show variety show, because it's one of those things like when Disney brought that to Disney Plus, it was the only thing she watched, and she just watched episode after episode, and it was comfort food. And it's, again, the guests have aged, the actors have aged, the performers have aged, but the content really doesn't. And there's something timeless about these characters and what they do and how they do it that regardless of what Muppet production you're watching, whether it be the Muppets Office ripoff from ABC that lasted a season, or going back to the original variety show.
Also, can we just say that that Muppets Office ripoff really should have lasted longer? That show was amazing.
I put that more on ABC and Disney execs than anybody else. Like that, it's not like. Also, Muppets Now. Why did we only get one season of Muppets Now?
I mean, that's because of just the general state of streaming services, which is a whole other conversation.
I mean, speaking of streaming services, did you see what they announced for Disney Plus coming out next Wednesday?
No, what?
Hi-ho, Griffin.
Are we finally talking about Snow White?
I really don't want to.
You brought it up. We have to now. It's your fault.
I only have myself to blame.
Yes. Yes, you do. Yeah, this is such a special one. It's so fun seeing it. And, like, I think every time I see it, I see little fun details that I just had never seen before. Like, when the vacuum Muppet hits, I had not noticed that it sucks up one of the penguins until seeing it recently.
The biggest thing for me is seeing this as a kid and, again, enjoying it as an adult is the way that it breaks into the theater. So having Statler and Waldorf to start the show, getting the Snuffleupagus, whatever his name is, run through the auditorium. Huh?
Sweetums?
Sure, the big hairy dude.
Yeah, Sweetum.
Yeah, whatever. Getting him running through the auditorium is just, it's one of those things where I remember as a kid, when it came to these kind of shows, the 4D elements of them. So thinking about, again, this is going to hurt because we could talk as well about It's Tough to Be a Bug that had very similar effects, came out after this, but at the same time, like the way it intruded into the theater, PhilharMagic with the smelling, the smell-o-vision effects and the wind and the water effects. Like, there's something really magical about the way that Disney does these kind of productions in their parks. And I do feel like we're skewing more towards it's a stage thing. It'll be some audience interaction. There'll be some music. It'll be a sing-along. It'll be Little Mermaid or Frozen or Villains or whatever. And I think there's something really special that we're losing in these attractions that are, you know, essentially staples of the park at this point, right?
Yeah, it is. There will always be new, and I'm always an advocate for new.
I am too. Like
the classics you have are classics for a reason, and deserve a level of respect that they are not always given. That said, take it or leave it. They're sometimes Disney adults can get a little too attached to things.
I fully agree. I do think, like, as much as I love PhilharMagic, I do think it's probably next on the chopping block on the East and the West Coast.
I don't think PhilharMagic's on the chopping block anytime soon. They just added Coco to it. Like,
I could see them taking out Star Tours and then keep adding movies to that. So, like,
yeah, it's because I don't think either of those are going anywhere anytime soon.
Agree to disagree, because I do think the old adage that Disney had, Walt had of the parks are ever changing, is anything that we've grown attached to. Like, if you took the list of attractions and sorted by year opened, everything at the top of the list is fair game, apart from, like, Small World.
Oh, I mean, that's fair.
I would even argue that Peter Pan's Flight could potentially be at risk.
I think Peter Pan's Flight is safe just because of the numbers it does. Right? Like, that thing always has a ridiculous line. And I think that's where it comes down on, like...
The line is mostly due to the fact that it's a very slow-loading attraction with low capacity. So if they could put something on that footprint that had very high capacity, I'm sure Disney would think about it.
Yeah, but it's also a popularity thing. Some things, like there's the sad reality with MuppetVision 3D that outside of Muppet fans, MuppetVision 3D is not popular. Like, right. I hate to say it, it hurts me to say it, but it's just not. It never was.
Very true. Very true.
Like, I had done my video, check it out on our shorts or TikTok, when I had gone to Pizza Rizzo, and it was empty. There was barely anyone in there.
I think part of it too is just where it is in the park. Hollywood Studios is not a very well laid out park.
Mm-hmm. And it's also awkwardly in between both Star Wars things.
Yeah.
Which I do think is a reason we could see Star Tours disappear. But I still don't entirely think it's happening.
If not disappear, relocate.
I do think it's good. I could see relocate. I'm surprised, honestly, that Star Tour, like we have Star Tours, we have Galaxy's Edge, and we have Star Wars Launch Bay.
Launch Bay has to be next on the block.
I think
right?
it's yeah. But we also have this whole thing with that area right now with the Get Animated stuff that they're doing for the summer. And it is kind of this festival area. That back entrance area around Disney Junior is used for a lot of events. Like that area does still have its use, not to mention the behind the scenes stuff for cast members to get from point A to point B. Not to mention just parking and general storage. Like, I understand all of that. I'm still surprised, though, that Star Wars Launch Bay is there. Or at least...
I don't think it's there for long. I think whatever the next Blue Sky project they announced for Hollywood Studios is, it has to go there. There's nowhere else to put it.
I think.
Right? Like, unless they expand on the land that they have and increase the footprint of the park, if they want to use the existing footprint, that's where it's got to go.
I'm also not sure that any other next Blue Sky stuff will be for Hollywood Studios.
Probably not for a while, other than maybe an expansion to Galaxy's Edge with a new attraction.
Well, because we have we have the Monsters Inc. edition for Hollywood Studios. Yep. That's going to be huge. Animal Kingdom is getting.
I could see
update.
I could see a situation where they take what they've done with maybe not Zootopia, but like Frozen or one of the lands they put into the parks around the world, and find a way to reuse some of that technology or some of those attractions in that area of Hollywood Studios and create a new themed land in there. It does seem.
I also don't think that we get that kind of announcement until we have seen significantly more of Villains.
Fully aligned there. I do think everything that's boots on ground now with what did they close recently before they closed they're closing
Dinoland?
Dinoland, yeah. So I think we'll see that stuff sooner.
That's next, yeah.
That's next. And then after that is going to be Cars because they're starting to talk about closing down.
Yeah, that will be closing, I believe, they said June something.
This summer. We can just
they have a date even. Like
No, I know. I just didn't want to have to dwell on it. I do think Hollywood is probably next after that with both. Okay, before we talk about how disappointed we are losing this, I also have to talk about my other disappointment in that my favorite roller coaster going to the parks growing up was Rock and Roller Coaster.
Mm-hmm. What's nice is we don't have a date yet for that.
I thought we did. Oh, for roller coaster.
For roller coaster.
Yeah, again with the current administration, I don't think I will ride that attraction again before it closes. Which I'm not disappointed. I mean, I've ridden it enough. I know like it would be nice to do one last time, but it's not the end of the world.
Because I want to correct myself, by the way, July 6th is when Rivers of America closes.
Yeah. I'm disappointed that they're going to... I mean, I understand the business reason behind letting the license lapse on using Aerosmith's likeness in the music on the attraction. I am glad we're using it as a way to keep the Muppets in the park.
Honestly, I like that we're keeping the Muppets in the park, but I'm not sure that's where we should be keeping the Muppets in the park. I would much rather see another band take that place. And mind you, that's very difficult to do. But it's also... But that's also what they're doing already. Yeah. Like, that's what they're going to be doing with the Electric Mayhem.
But it's music that they own. Right?
Oh, and I totally understand that. I totally get that. I just think that it is more interesting as an overall park decision when it is something licensed.
Again, there's this drive from all Disney parks. This isn't exclusive to Florida, California. It's happening across the globe of IP-themed attractions, IP-themed lands. So having this...
Cough, cough, Epic Universe.
Well, exactly. And we've talked at length about that. But even looking, like I said, at the Frozen expansion we got in Shanghai, you look at the Zootopia stuff that they're doing. You look at even the Beauty and the Beast attraction opening in France. I want to say. Sounds right?
Yeah, it sounds right.
There's a large push to just lean on IP in the park. And we're seeing that with... Encanto in Animal Kingdom. We're seeing it with Indiana Jones going in for Dinosaur. We're seeing it with Villains. We're seeing it with the successful openings of both Toy Story Land and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. IP is what brings people into the parks. So
I mean, it
having
always has
something
been.
like this.
And
No, but I mean, looking at something like the Tower of Terror, looking at something like Rock and Roller Coaster, looking at some of these more, I would say, legacy attractions, even something like, as much as people loved it, the Great Movie Ride, which was what Hollywood Studios was about. It was about Hollywood. It was a working production lot, right? Like, that's changing.
So
with
may I?
it becoming so IP heavy. So I understand them wanting to use one of their IP on that attraction and still keeping with the theming, but not having to worry about licensing of some external party.
Oh yeah, see that's what I love it, and for me it is a matter of clash. I think that it is like the Muppets do make sense there and whatnot, and only the Muppets would make sense there if you're not going to use a band. Like, it just doesn't make sense for Sunset Boulevard for it to be anything else. Theming is still incredibly important to Disney. And as far as IP go, I think a lot of that exists for a reason. I am of the opinion, I like the IP shift. I think the IP shift makes a lot of sense. I just think that we also need to adjust it a little bit and have have parks exclusive IP as well. Use Figment, use Orange Bird, use your other characters you've made for these parks because people love them and they will go to see those.
They will.
Orange Bird is the entire icon of the Flower and Garden Festival right now, and it's doing very well. Like,
Figment is usually food and wine, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's like, I know Figment is a mainstay for us, or well, me.
Us. I've got a Figment in my son's room thanks to you.
You're goddamn right, you do.
Yeah, he friggin' loves it.
Yep. Greatest purchase I've ever made.
It's very much so. I think one of the challenges with at least the current state of Hollywood studios is it is like you said, it's a clash of design philosophies, right? Hollywood Studios was, this is how Hollywood works. And now, like when it was Disney MGM Studios, now Hollywood Studios is a bit of that legacy with how much IP can we jam down your throat on a given day.
But also, that's how Hollywood works now.
Well, and that's it, right?
So it's funny is it is still the same philosophy ultimately of this is how Hollywood works. It's just that Hollywood works differently now. And unfortunately, I think that makes sense for why we are, to bring it back to like the point topic of the show, right? I think that's unfortunately why it makes sense as to why Muppets is going away. Again, I am not happy about this. I am very disappointed. But it does make some iota of sense.
And I am glad that the Muppets as an IP are not going to disappear from the parks entirely, because I believe this is probably the last remnant of the Muppets in any of the parks, right? So I'm glad that they're finding a way to theme an attraction anywhere after the Muppets. And Rock and Roller Coaster makes a lot of sense.
They recently added the Muppets into, I am going to forget the name of it. The nighttime show at Disney as California's Adventure. World of Color. I couldn't remember the word world for some reason. World of Color has a Muppet section in it now, and the Muppets are appearing elsewhere in smaller capacities. And I don't think we're done seeing the Muppets. I do think the Muppets will continue to live. The question is just how. And
so I'm going to say this, and this is just based on a Muppet Wikipedia page. So take this with as much salt as you want to throw at it. The only things that are still standing, that are current attractions across any of Disney's parks globally, are MuppetVision, the Muppet Mobile Labs at Epcot that they've rolled out for some of the festivals, Pizza Rizzo, Disney Holidays in Hollywood, the seasonal show at Hollywood Studios, the Regal Eagle at Epcot, and the Bunsen Honeydew Food and Wine Festival experience with the Brewing Lab.
Which is still Muppet
everything
Lab.
Else across the globe has been shut down. At both Disney World, Disneyland, Hong Kong Disney that also had the Muppet Mobile Lab that they no longer use, and a couple of attractions on the cruise line.
Yeah, I do think. Yeah, they have the I think it's Rizzo. No, it's Pepe. It's Pepe because shrimp. Yeah, I do think the Muppets is an IP that will continue to get used. I just don't think it's going to get used in the parks. Outside of outside of the stuff we already know about. And like that's a bummer. It is.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of the world we're in now. The Muppets. We'll see what's next. Like honestly, I don't know. I don't know what is next for the Muppets, but I do think that the Muppets are going to survive. I have it is pure blind optimism.
I will play devil's advocate there. Even if the Muppets do not survive, whether it be in the parks as an IP that Disney revisits every so often, as a film, television, streaming property, whatever it might be, if there's nothing more for the Muppets apart from Electric Mayhem and Rock and Roller Coaster, hell of a run. Everything that we've had from the Muppets has been timeless. We're talking about this now as something that they're looking to preserve for generations. And there's a reason for that. And it's that timeless nature of the Muppets that we talked about earlier. So it's one of those situations of we don't know what's next. It's a real bummer that we are where we are with these characters. But goddamn, what a run.
True. Obviously, folks, we are going to talk about what's next because we don't know what's next. Where we'll see the Muppets next.
I can't wait to ride that new version of Rock and Roller Coaster with you, Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that.
And hey, I can't wait to ride the door coaster with you. The door coaster.
What coaster?
The Monsters
the
Inc.
Monsters Inc. one. Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Like, we are getting cool stuff. And I think that is the weird part of all of this, is I am genuinely excited for the new stuff. But I am very sad to see MuppetVision go.
I'm excited for sushi in Hollywood Studios because goddamn Hollywood Studios has terrible food options. And
I see, and I think it has some terrible, but also some of my favorite food in the parks. So
I'm also just really excited for Disney's first suspended coaster and what that might mean, because I will get you up here and the Immelin, I think it's Immelin, suspended coasters that we have in Canada will give you a concussion. So I'm really hoping Disney sorts that out.
Perfect.
And I know they will,
wait.
and I can't wait to experience it.
Mm-hmm. Folks, we will be back next time. But until then, there's plenty of other stuff you can check out. We have our weekly series that is currently on hiatus until Ironheart. We've got the regular show where we have other episodes up. And then there's also the short series that's happening right now where I go and explore things in the parks. But one thing I want to shout out for you to go check out, if you love Muppets as much as we clearly do, is a YouTube video not by us. It is a YouTube video by Andrew Barth Feldman, who does not need us to promote his shit, but is still fantastic in every way, shape, and form. He did a music video called Thank You MuppetVision 3D. And it is the greatest possible thing for this. One other thing I forgot to shout out at the top of the show as well. It's June. Happy Pride. Since it is June, I want to shout out a what's the word? A fundraiser happening right now over on Parkstop. Parkstop.myshopify.com. Link, it will be in the description. They're currently selling limited edition prints, all to raise money for the Trevor Project. It is a fantastic organization and also an incredibly easy way to spend money. These prints are genuinely amazing, and I want all of them. Mitch, I'll send you the link to tempt you.
Don't, because international shipping sucks. On top of all of that, also knowing these things are kind of greenfield, you can come in anytime, but given this is June, we talked about Pride, it would behoove us not to also mention Juneteenth. Use that as a day to educate yourself, use it as a day to learn, use it as a day to, just learn to be better. We all need to. And unfortunately, it's not a thing up here, but I still use it as an opportunity to learn and grow, and I think we all should. So do take the time to recognize what that federal holiday means in the U.S. if that is where you are, and if you are not,
still look into it. Yeah, still your homework, folks. Anyways, thank you everybody for the dealing with us on the long exit. We will see y'all next time, but until then, be good to each other and have a magical day.
That's all, folks.